The war room beneath Geneva buzzed with quiet activity. Maps of human space covered the walls, showing colony worlds, trade routes, and military installations. Red markers indicated where alien fleets had been spotted gathering. The markers formed, a rough circle around human territory like a noose slowly tightening. President Ji-woo sat at the head of a long table surrounded by Earth's top military and political leaders. Defense Minister Dong-hyun stood beside a large display screen showing the latest intelligence reports. The numbers were not encouraging. "The alien fleet continues to grow," Dong-hyun reported. "We now count 237 warships. The largest vessels are Vorthak dreadnoughts, each one bigger than our entire Pacific fleet combined. The Hive has contributed over 80 ships, including their famous swarm fighters." Admiral Boram leaned forward in her chair. She commanded. Earth's space forces and her weathered face showed the strain of the past few weeks. "Our analysts estimate the alien fleet could destroy every human military installation within 6 months. Our colonies would be defenseless after that." "What about evacuation?" asked Foreign Minister Yoon-ji. "Could we bring our colonists home before the aliens attack?" "Impossible," Boram replied. "We don't have enough transport ships to move 8 million people. Even if we did, the aliens would probably attack our evacuation fleets." President Ji-woo studied the map of human space. Each colony world represented thousands of human lives, families who had built new homes among the stars. Giving up these worlds would break something important in the human spirit, but fighting seemed hopeless. "What do we know about alien military tactics?" Ji-woo asked. Dong-hyun changed the display to show recordings from previous alien conflicts. Most galactic species fight in similar ways. They use energy weapons, plasma cannons, and particle beams. Their ships rely on energy shields for protection. Battles usually involve long-range duels between small groups of ships. They also favor boarding actions, added Intelligence Chief Soo-jin. She was young for such an important position, but her mind worked faster than most computers. "Alien cultures see personal combat as honorable. Many battles end when one side captures the enemy flagship." Admiral Boram smiled grimly. "Good thing we never cared much about honor in war." The room fell silent as everyone considered their options. Earth could surrender and hope the aliens would be merciful. They could try to negotiate some kind of compromise. Or they could fight and probably lose everything. "There is one more option," Boram said slowly. "We could show them what humans are really capable of." President Ji-woo raised an eyebrow. "Explain." "The aliens think they know us," Boram continued. "They've seen our merchant ships and diplomatic vessels. They think we're weak because we're young, but they've never seen what happens when humans get serious about war." 3 weeks later, Admiral Tae-min returned to Nexus Prime. The massive space station looked the same as before, but the mood felt different. Alien news networks had been broadcasting reports about the human crisis for days. Most commentators predicted that Earth would surrender rather than face the combined might of the Vorthak Empire and Hive Confederation. The council chamber was packed when Tae-min arrived. Representatives from dozens of species had come to witness humanity's response to the ultimatum. Some looked sympathetic, but most seemed curious to see how a young species would handle such overwhelming pressure. Vextar called the session to order with obvious satisfaction. The old Vorthak leader had spent weeks preparing for this moment. Messages from across his empire confirmed that the largest military fleet in recent history was ready to carry out the Council's will. The human representative has returned, Vextar announced. We await Earth's decision regarding the terms presented 30 days ago. Taemin stood and walked to the central platform. He carried a small data pad containing Earth's official response. The document was short, but its implications would echo across the galaxy for years to come. I speak for the United Earth government and all human colonies, Taemin began. His voice was calm and clear. Earth has carefully considered the terms presented by this council. The chamber became completely silent. Even the station's background noise seemed to fade away. Earth formally rejects the ultimatum, Taemin continued. Human expansion will continue according to our own plans and timeline. We claim the right to defend our territory and our people against any threats. Shocked murmurs spread through the chamber. Several alien representatives began speaking at once. Some sounded angry. Others seemed confused. A few smaller species actually appeared pleased that someone had finally stood up to the galactic powers. Vextar slammed his scaled fist on his speaking platform. The sound echoed through the chamber like a gunshot. "Silence!" he roared. "The humans have chosen their fate." The old Vorthak leader turned his glowing eyes toward Taemin. "Your species has existed for less than 50,000 years. The Vorthak Empire has ruled space for over 1,000,000 years. We have conquered 1,000 worlds and destroyed countless civilizations that refuse to accept galactic order. We understand your concerns," Taemin replied politely. "Earth hopes this matter can be resolved peacefully. However, we will not abandon our colonies or our people." Zaxth of the Hive Confederation rose from her seat. Her forearms moved in rapid, aggressive patterns. "Humans show the arrogance typical of young species. You will learn respect for your elders, or you will learn nothing at all." "The Council has spoken," Vextar declared. "Military action will begin immediately. Perhaps when human cities burn, the survivors will understand the price of defying galactic law." Far from Earth, near the lunar naval base, Admiral Boram watched the final preparations for humanity's response. The base orbited the dark side of Earth's moon, hidden from alien observation by careful planning and advanced stealth technology. Few beings in the galaxy knew it existed. The shipyards around the base hummed with activity. Thousands of workers made final checks on the largest human fleet ever assembled. Terra Fleet 1 consisted of 50 warships, each one built according to specifications that alien intelligence had never seen. Captain Wu Jin stood on the bridge of the UES Indomitable, the fleet's flagship. His ship was massive by human standards, but small compared to the alien dreadnoughts waiting at the edge of human space. What the aliens couldn't see was the advanced technology packed into every meter of the vessel. "All ships report ready for departure," announced Tactical Officer Su Jin. She had transferred from intelligence work to fleet operations specifically for this mission. Her knowledge of alien tactics would be crucial in the coming battle. "Engineering reports all systems optimal," added Chief Engineer Hyun Woo. His team had worked around the clock to install the latest weapons and defensive systems. The Indomitable carried enough firepower to level a small moon. Captain Wu Jin opened a secure channel to Admiral Boram. "Terra Fleet 1 is ready to depart. On your orders." Boram appeared on the main screen, her expression serious but confident. "You have your sealed orders, Captain. The fate of humanity may depend on what happens in the next few days." "Understood, Admiral. We won't let you down." "I know you won't." "Good hunting, Wu Jin." The channel closed, and Wu Jin turned to his crew. These men and women represented the best of humanity's military forces. They had trained for years in secret, preparing for the day when Earth might face extinction. "Helm, set course for the Kepler 442 system," Wu Jin ordered. "Maximum speed." "Aye, sir. Course laid in. All ships, this is Indomitable. Execute departure sequence." One by one, the ships of Terra Fleet 1 activated their engines and disappeared into hyperspace. Their destination was the contested star system where the alien armada waited. Intelligence reports suggested the aliens expected humanity to send a desperate plea for mercy, or perhaps a small fleet to demonstrate token resistance before surrendering. Instead, they would get their first real look at what humans could accomplish when their survival was at stake. The galaxy was about to learn that appearances could be very deceiving, and that sometimes the youngest voice in the room had the most important things to say. Captain Wu Jin settled into his command chair as the stars streaked past his ship's viewports. Behind him, 49 other human warships followed in perfect formation. Each ship carried the hopes and dreams of 8 billion humans back on Earth, plus millions more in the colonies. The aliens wanted to see what humanity was truly capable of. They were about to get their wish. The Kepler 442 system had once been peaceful. 3 rocky planets orbited a yellow star much like Earth's sun. The second planet had been chosen for humanity's newest colony because its atmosphere and climate were almost perfect for human life. Now it would become the site of the first major battle between humanity and the galactic powers. The alien armada waited in formation near the system's outer edge. 247 warships arranged themselves in the traditional galactic battle formation. Vorthak dreadnoughts formed the center line, their massive hulls bristling with energy weapons. Hive swarm ships surrounded them in loose clouds, ready to overwhelm any enemy with sheer numbers. Admiral Kethnox commanded the alien fleet from his flagship, the Eternal Dominion. The enormous Vorthak vessel was over 2 kilometers long and carried enough firepower to destroy entire moons. Kethnox had personally conquered 43 worlds during his long career. He expected the human campaign to be finished within a few hours. "Long-range sensors detect hyperspace distortions," reported the alien tactical officer. "Human ships are approaching." Kethnox leaned forward in his command throne. "How many vessels?" 50 ships, Admiral. All appear to be military vessels of unknown design." The Vorthak Admiral laughed, a sound like grinding stone. 50 ships against our entire armada? The humans are either very brave or very stupid. Around the bridge, other alien officers joined their admiral's laughter. The idea that 50 human ships could threaten their massive fleet seemed absurd. Most galactic species would have sent at least 500 ships to face such overwhelming odds. Terra. Fleet 1 dropped out of hyperspace exactly where Captain Wu Jin had planned. The 50 human warships appeared in a tight formation, their gray hulls reflecting the light of the distant star. Compared to the colorful alien vessels, the human ships looked plain and simple. "All ships report successful transition," announced Tactical Officer Su Jin. "Enemy fleet detected at bearing 270, range 3 million kilometers." Captain Wu Jin studied the tactical display showing the alien formation. Their arrangement followed the standard galactic pattern that Earth intelligence had studied for years. The aliens expected a traditional battle with long-range energy weapon duels followed by boarding actions. "Open a channel to the alien flagship," Wu Jin ordered. The main screen flickered to life, showing Admiral Kethnox on his bridge. The Vorthak leader looked exactly like the intelligence files described, old, scarred, and completely confident in his superiority. I am Captain Wu Jin of the United Earth Ship Indomitable, Wu Jin said calmly. This system is under human protection. Withdraw your forces immediately, and no harm will come to you. Keth Knox stared at the human captain for several seconds before bursting into laughter. Other aliens on his bridge joined in, creating a chorus of inhuman sounds. You dare threaten me, little human? Keth Knox snarled. I command the largest fleet assembled in this region for 50 years. You bring 50 tiny ships against my armada. Surrender now, and I might allow some of your crew to live as slaves. This is your final warning, Wu Jin replied. Withdraw or face the consequences. The only consequence will be your destruction, Keth Knox shot back. All ships, attack formation. Show these humans the price of defying galactic law. The alien fleet began moving toward the human formation. Energy weapons powered up across hundreds of ships. Particle beam cannons extended from weapon ports. Plasma generators reached firing temperature. The aliens prepared to demonstrate why young species learn to fear the older powers. Captain Wu Jin watched the alien approach with calm interest. All ships, assume defensive formation Beta 7. Charge all weapon systems. Prepare for combat. Three. Human ships smoothly rearranged themselves into a new pattern. Instead of the loose formation favored by most galactic species, the humans formed tight groups that could provide mutual support. Each ship was positioned to cover its neighbor's weak points. Sir, aliens are opening fire, reported Su Jin. The space between the two fleets lit up with energy beams and plasma bolts. The alien weapons struck the human ships in waves of brilliant light. Hundreds of impacts flashed across human shields and armor. The aliens expected to see human ships exploding under the assault. Instead, the human vessels absorbed the damage and kept coming. Their shields flickered but held. Their armor glowed red-hot in places but did not break. The ships had been built to take punishment that would destroy most galactic vessels. Return fire, Wu Jin ordered quietly. The human response was unlike anything the aliens had ever seen. Instead of energy weapons, the human ships opened fire with kinetic weapons. Railguns launched metal projectiles at incredible speeds. Missile tubes fired smart weapons that could change course during flight. Mass drivers hurled chunks of dense metal at velocities that turned them into devastating weapons. The alien fleet had never faced kinetic warfare on this scale. Their shields were designed to stop energy weapons, not solid objects moving at relativistic speeds. The first wave of human fire punched through alien defenses like paper. A Vorthak heavy cruiser simply came apart as 3 railgun rounds tore through its hull. A cluster of Hive fighters vanished in a cloud of debris when a human missile found their fuel storage. Alien ships began exploding across the battlefield as weapons they had never encountered proved devastatingly effective. Impossible, Admiral Keth Knox whispered as he watched his fleet take massive damage. How are they penetrating our shields? His tactical officer's voice shook with fear. Sir, they're not using energy weapons. These are physical projectiles moving at extreme velocity. Our shields can't stop them. All ships, close to boarding. Range, Keth Knox ordered. We'll show them how real warriors fight. The alien fleet tried to change tactics, but the humans were ready for that too. As alien ships moved closer, human vessels unleashed their short-range weapons. Point defense lasers cut through alien fighter swarms like deadly light shows. Plasma cannons designed for close combat turned alien boarding ships into expanding clouds of gas. Chief Engineer Hyun Woo monitored his ship's systems from the engineering deck. All weapons functioning normally. he reported to the bridge. "Shield generators operating at 80% efficiency. We can maintain this rate of fire for hours." The battle continued for 30 minutes, but the outcome was clear within the first 10. Human ships systematically destroyed alien vessels with weapons and tactics the galactic powers had never imagined. The aliens tried every formation and strategy in their playbooks, but nothing worked against human kinetic weapons and coordinated fire. "Sir, alien flagship is trying to withdraw," Sujin reported. Captain Woojin watched Admiral Keth Knox's massive dreadnought turn away from the battle. Around it, the surviving alien ships fled in disorder. Of the original 247 vessels, only 93 remained functional. Most of those were damaged and limping away from the battlefield. "All ships, cease fire," Woojin ordered. "Let them go, sir." Sujin looked confused. "We could destroy their entire fleet." "Our mission was to defend this system," Woojin replied. "The threat has been neutralized. Begin rescue operations for alien survivors." Across the battlefield, human ships moved among the wreckage, searching for escape pods and damaged vessels. Teams of human medical personnel prepared to treat wounded aliens according to the Geneva Conventions, which Earth had extended to cover all sentient beings. The alien survivors could not understand this behavior. In galactic warfare, the victors usually executed prisoners or sold them into slavery. The idea that humans would risk their own safety to rescue defeated enemies was completely foreign to their experience. Admiral Keth Knox sat in stunned silence on his bridge as his ship fled toward the edge of the system. His communications officer intercepted human transmissions organizing rescue efforts. The messages were broadcast on open channels, as if the humans wanted everyone to hear their peaceful intentions. "Admiral," his tactical officer said quietly, "how did they do it?" "We outnumbered them 5-1. Keth Knox had no answer. In all his years of conquest, he had never seen anything like the human performance. Their ships moved with perfect coordination. Their weapons penetrated defenses that had protected galactic fleets for millennia. Most importantly, they fought with a level of efficiency and ruthlessness that made professional warriors look like children. "Send a message to the Galactic Council," Keth Knox ordered. "Tell them we need more ships. Many more ships." As the alien fleet disappeared into hyperspace, Terra Fleet 1 resumed its patrol of the Kepler 442 system. The human ships showed little sign of the battle they had just won. A few scorch marks on their hulls and some depleted ammunition stores were the only evidence of the one-sided engagement. Captain Woojin opened his sealed orders and read them carefully. The documents contained instructions for the next phase of humanity's response to galactic aggression. As he read, a slow smile spread across his face. The aliens thought they had seen what humans could do in war. They had no idea that Terra Fleet 1 was just the beginning. News of the Battle of Kepler 442 spread across the galaxy faster than any hyperspace ship could travel. Alien communication networks carried reports of the impossible human victory to every corner of known space. The details seemed too incredible to believe, but too many witnesses had seen the battle for anyone to dismiss the reports as fiction. On Nexus Prime, the Galactic Council held emergency sessions as representatives tried to understand what had happened. Admiral Taemin sat in his observer chair and watched alien leaders struggle to explain how 50 human ships had destroyed more than half of the largest fleet assembled in recent memory. "The reports must be exaggerated," insisted Representative Cross of the Mollusk Federation. His shell clicked nervously as he spoke. No species could achieve such results against overwhelming odds. I have recordings from Admiral Keth Knox's flagship, replied Vextar grimly. The old Vorthak leader looked like he had aged years in the past few days. The humans used weapons we have never encountered, kinetic projectiles that penetrated our best shields, coordinated tactics that overwhelmed our formations. Zakth of the Hive Confederation buzzed angrily. This changes nothing. The humans cannot have many such fleets. We will gather more ships and crush them properly. Admiral Taemin listened to the debates with calm attention. He had received detailed reports of the battle from Earth, but he showed no emotion as the aliens discussed humanity's victory. His poker face was perfect, giving no hint of what Earth might do next. When the formal session ended, several alien representatives approached Taemin privately. Most came from smaller species that had lived under Vorthak or Hive domination for centuries. "Is it true?" asked Ambassador Flicta of the Aquarian Republic. Her people were peaceful traders who had never possessed strong military forces. "Did your people really defeat the Vorthak Armada?" "The reports speak for themselves," Taemin replied diplomatically. "Earth regrets the loss of life but stands ready to defend our legitimate interests." "What will happen now?" Flicta continued. "The Vorthak will not accept this defeat. They will bring more ships, call in more allies." Taemin smiled slightly. "Earth appreciates your concern for our welfare. We hope the Galactic Council will reconsider its position on human expansion rights." That evening, Taemin sent an encrypted message to Earth requesting medical supplies and temporary housing for alien prisoners of war. He made the request through official diplomatic channels, ensuring that alien intelligence services would intercept and decode the transmission. The message served two purposes. It demonstrated human commitment to treating prisoners according to civilized standards, which impressed several smaller species. More importantly, it showed that Earth possessed enough resources to care for thousands of alien captives while maintaining military operations. Back on Earth, President Jiwoo convened another emergency meeting of the Global Defense Council. The secure conference room buzzed with excitement as reports flowed in from across human space. The victory at Kepler 442 had exceeded even the most optimistic projections. "Alien communication networks are in chaos," reported Intelligence Chief Yunji. "Every major species is demanding explanations from the Vorthak and Hive leadership. Several smaller governments have secretly contacted our embassies asking about defense agreements." Defense Minister Dong Hyun updated the strategic situation. "Our deep space monitors detect massive fleet movements throughout alien space. The Vorthak Empire is recalling ships from frontier garrisons. The Hive Confederation has activated reserve formations that haven't been used in decades." "How long before they can mount another attack?" asked President Jiwoo. "Best estimate is 6 months, Dong-hyun replied. "They're not just gathering ships. They're redesigning tactics and weapon systems based on what they learned from our engagement." Admiral Bo Ram studied intelligence reports about alien fleet movements. The numbers were staggering. Every major power in the galaxy was contributing ships to what they called the Great Cleansing. Even species that had remained neutral for centuries were being pressured to join the campaign against humanity. "They're planning to bring everything they have," Bo-Ram said quietly. "Our estimates suggest they could assemble over 2,000 warships. Every major vessel in the galactic power's arsenals." The room fell silent as everyone considered the implications. Terra Fleet 1 had performed magnificently against overwhelming odds, but 2,000 enemy ships represented a challenge beyond anything humanity had ever faced. "What are our options?" Jiwoo asked. Boram activated a secure holographic display showing the Luna Naval Base. The image revealed massive construction projects that had been hidden from alien observation for years. New shipyards extended deep into the moon's interior, while assembly lines worked around the clock-building vessels of revolutionary design. "The aliens think they've seen our full capabilities," Boram said with satisfaction. "They have no idea what Earth can really produce when we put our minds to it." Meanwhile, in the wreckage of his once mighty fleet, Admiral Kethnox tried to understand how everything had gone so wrong. His surviving ships limped back to Vorthak space, carrying tales of human weapons that seemed to defy natural law. The Admiral's personal ship, Eternal Dominion, bore scars from the battle that would never fully heal. Human kinetic rounds had punched holes through armor that had protected the vessel for over a century. Emergency repairs kept the ship functional, but it would never again be the symbol of Vorthak might it once was. "Sir, we're receiving transmission from High Command," reported the communications officer. Emperor Sekthar himself appeared on the main screen. The supreme ruler of the Vorthak Empire looked ancient, even by his species' standards. His scales had faded to white, and his eyes burned with cold fury. "Explain to me, Admiral Kethnox, how 50 primitive ships destroyed half of your fleet." Kethnox had dreaded this conversation. "Your Imperial Majesty, the humans fight unlike any species we have encountered. Their weapons, their tactics, their coordination. Everything was beyond our experience. Are you telling me that the mighty Vorthak Empire has been defeated by children?" "Not defeated, Majesty. Surprised. We underestimated their capabilities, but we will not make that mistake again." Emperor Sekthar's eyes narrowed. "Indeed, you will not. I am placing you in command of the largest military operation in our empires. History, every ship, every weapon, every warrior will be at your disposal. You will not merely defeat the humans, you will erase them from existence." Similar conversations took place across alien space as the galactic powers prepared for total war. The Hive Confederation activated production facilities that had been dormant for centuries. Client species received orders to contribute their entire military forces to the coming campaign. Even ancient weapons were brought out of storage and prepared for use. On a dozen worlds, alien engineers worked frantically to develop countermeasures against human kinetic weapons. New shield designs were tested and rejected. Armor improvements were studied and found inadequate. The galactic powers discovered that defending against relativistic projectiles was far more difficult than anyone had imagined. Captain Wu Jin remained on station in the Kepler 442 system with Terra Fleet 1. His ships had been repaired and resupplied by Earth's mobile support vessels. To outside observers, the human fleet appeared unchanged from before the battle. What the aliens could not see were the improvements hidden within each ship. Combat experience had revealed weaknesses in human designs that engineers back home worked to correct. Better shields, improved weapons, and enhanced coordination systems were installed during the resupply operation. "Sir, we're detecting multiple hyperspace signatures," reported Tactical Officer Su Jin. "Long-range sensors show what appears to be an alien scouting force." "How many ships?" Wu Jin asked. 12 vessels, light cruiser class. They're maintaining maximum sensor range." Wu Jin smiled. The aliens were being cautious now, studying human capabilities before committing to another major engagement. It was exactly what Earth's strategists had predicted. "Signal all ships to maintain standard patrol pattern," he ordered. "Let them watch. They might learn something useful." The alien scouts observed Terra Fleet 1 for 3 days before withdrawing to report their findings. They noted the human formation patterns, weapon signatures, and ship movements. The intelligence would be analyzed by the best military minds in galactic space. What the scouts did not realize was that everything they observed had been carefully planned. The humans showed exactly what they wanted the aliens to see, no more, no less. The real secrets of human military capability remained hidden in classified files and secure facilities scattered across human space. As reports flowed back to alien command centers, military planners began designing new strategies for the coming campaign. They studied human tactics and developed countermeasures. They prepared for a war unlike anything the galaxy had seen in centuries. None of them suspected that humanity was also preparing. In hidden shipyards and secret facilities, Earth's greatest minds worked on projects that would reshape the balance of power in galactic space. The Battle of Kepler 442 had been just the opening move in a much larger game. The galaxy was about to discover that humans had many more surprises in store. 6 months after the Battle of Kepler 442, the largest military fleet in recorded galactic history assembled at the edge of human space. The armada stretched across millions of cubic kilometers of void, a collection of warships so vast that it took hours for light to travel from one end to the other. At the center of this massive formation flew the Imperial Devastator, flagship of Emperor Sekthar himself. The enormous Vorthak vessel was over 3 kilometers long and carried enough firepower to crack the crust of a planet. Around it, like metal moons orbiting a steel world, sailed the greatest ships of a dozen alien civilizations. The Vorthak Empire had contributed 800 vessels, including every dreadnought in their fleet. The Hive Confederation brought 600 ships ranging from massive carriers to swarms of fighter craft. Client species and allied governments had been forced to provide another 800 vessels, stripping their home defenses to support the campaign. Emperor Sekthar stood on the bridge of his flagship, his ancient eyes studying tactical displays that showed the disposition of over 2,000 warships. Each vessel represented decades of construction time and the resources of entire worlds. Never before had so much military might been assembled for a single campaign. "All fleets report ready for advance," announced Fleet Admiral Keth Knox. The veteran commander had spent months preparing for this moment, studying every detail of the human victory at Kepler 442. This time, there would be no surprises. "Signal the fleet," Sekthar commanded. "Today we demonstrate why the Vorthak Empire has ruled space for 1,000,000 years. Today we show the galaxy what happens to species that defy galactic law." The massive armada began moving toward human space, with the slow inevitability of a cosmic disaster. Hyperspace engines powered up across thousands of ships as the greatest military force in galactic history prepared to deliver its judgment. On Earth, deep space monitoring stations detected the alien fleet's approach hours before it reached human territory. Warning signals flashed across communication networks as humanity prepared for what everyone knew would be the final battle for their species' survival. President Ji Woo received the alert in her office beneath Geneva. She had not slept properly in weeks, knowing this moment would come. The fate of 8 billion humans on Earth, plus millions more in the colonies, now depended on decisions made in secret facilities over the past 6 months. "How long until they reach Kepler 442? She asked Defense Minister Dong Hyun. 18 hours at their current speed, he replied. Our deep space monitors confirm the intelligence estimates. Over 2,000 ships, including vessels we've never seen before. Admiral Boram joined the conversation via secure communication from Luna Command. Terra Fleet 1 remains on station in the target system. Captain Wu Jin reports his crews are ready for action. 50 ships against 2,000, Ji Wu said, quietly. Are we certain this will work? The simulations have been run hundreds of times, Boram assured her. If our intelligence is correct about alien tactical doctrines, they'll approach exactly as predicted. President Ji Wu nodded, though doubt gnawed at her mind. The plan was ambitious beyond anything humanity had ever attempted. If it failed, human civilization would end within days. The alien armada dropped out of hyperspace in perfect formation, exactly where human intelligence had predicted. Emperor Sekthar had chosen the same system where Admiral Kethnox had suffered, his humiliating defeat. The symbolism was intentional. This time, the Vorthak Empire would erase the memory of their previous failure. Sensors detect human fleet in the inner system, reported the tactical officer aboard the Imperial Devastator. 50 ships in standard defensive formation around the colony world. Emperor Sekthar studied the tactical display with satisfaction. The humans had made no attempt to flee or reinforce their position. Terra Fleet 1 waited exactly where it had been 6 months ago, apparently unchanged since the previous battle. They show no fear, observed Admiral Kethnox. Either they are incredibly brave, or they have some strategy we cannot see. It matters little, Sekthar replied. Even human ingenuity cannot overcome such overwhelming force. Signal all fleet commanders. We advance in battle formation. The alien armada began its approach toward the inner system. Unlike their previous, hasty attack, this advance was methodical and careful. Scout ships preceded the main force, sweeping space for hidden human vessels or defensive installations. Fighter squadrons spread out in wide search patterns, looking for any signs of ambush. Captain Wu Jin watched the alien approach from the bridge of the UES Indomitable. His ship had been completely rebuilt since the last battle, incorporating lessons learned from combat against galactic forces. Every system had been upgraded, every weapon improved, every defensive measure enhanced. Sir, alien fleet will reach weapons range in 40 minutes, reported Tactical Officer Su Jin. She had been promoted to Fleet Tactical Coordinator, responsible for coordinating the actions of all 50 human ships. Any response from Earth Command? Wu Jin asked. Standard orders, sir. Maintain position and await further instructions. Wu Jin nodded calmly. His sealed orders contained detailed instructions for the coming engagement, but the final decision would come from Admiral Boram herself. Until then, Terra Fleet 1 would wait and watch as the largest military force in galactic history approached their position. Chief Engineer Hyun Woo monitored his ship's systems from the engineering deck. Every component had been tested and retested over the past months. The Indomitable was no longer just a warship. It was a precision instrument designed for a very specific purpose. All systems optimal, he reported to the bridge. Reactor output at maximum efficiency. All weapons charged and ready. As the range closed between the two fleets, Emperor Sekthar opened a communication channel to the human flagship. His image appeared on screens throughout Terra Fleet 1, showing the ancient Vorthak ruler in all his terrible majesty. I am Emperor Sekthar, Supreme Commander of the Vorthak Empire and Master of 1,000 worlds. His voice echoed across space. I offer you one final chance to surrender. Submit now, and your deaths will be swift. Captain Wu Jin activated his own transmission, his calm human face contrasting sharply with the alien emperor's reptilian features. "This is Captain Wu Jin of the United Earthship Indomitable. This system is under human protection. You have 1 hour to withdraw. This is your only warning." The silence that followed was filled with alien disbelief. A few dozen humans were threatening an armada that could destroy entire star systems. The sheer audacity of the human position seemed to defy rational thought. Emperor Sekthar's eyes blazed with fury. "You dare threaten me? I who have conquered civilizations older than your species? I who have reduced entire worlds to ash and dust?" "1 hour," Wu Jin repeated calmly. "Use it wisely." The communication channel closed, leaving the alien fleet to contemplate the human response. Across thousands of alien ships, commanders and crew members struggled to understand human psychology. Were they insane? Did they possess some secret weapon that could destroy an entire armada? Admiral Kethnok studied his sensor readings carefully. "I detect no hidden ships, no defensive installations, no evidence of additional human forces. Their fleet appears exactly as it was 6 months ago." "Then they are simply fools," Sekthar declared. "We will demonstrate the price of such foolishness. All ships, prepare for total assault. When the hour expires, nothing human will remain alive in this system." The alien fleet continued its approach, weapons charging and shields powering up. Fighter squadrons launched from carrier ships. Boarding craft prepared for close-range assault. The greatest military machine in galactic history prepared to crush the small human force that dared to stand against it. On Luna Base, Admiral Boram watched real-time intelligence feeds from the battle zone. Stealth probes provided detailed information about alien fleet positions and movements. Everything was proceeding exactly according to plan. "All Terra fleets report ready for immediate deployment," announced her aide. "Fleet commanders are standing by for your signal." Boram checked her chronometer. 47 minutes until Captain Wu Jin's deadline expired. The aliens were positioning themselves perfectly, their massive fleet concentrated in the exact formation that human strategists had hoped for. "Signal Terra Fleet 1, Boram ordered. "Transmit authorization code Omega-7. Light years away, Captain Wu Jin received the coded message that would change the course of galactic history. He turned to his crew with a slight smile. "All ships, withdraw to minimum safe distance," he announced. "Prepare for reinforcement arrival." The 50 ships of Terra Fleet 1 suddenly began moving away from their defensive positions. To the aliens, it looked like the human fleet was finally showing sense and attempting to retreat. Emperor Sekthar ordered his forces to pursue and destroy the fleeing humans. As the alien armada surged forward to claim its victory, space around them began to shimmer with the telltale signs of massive hyperspace transitions. The Emperor watched in growing confusion as his sensors detected incoming ships from multiple directions. Terra Fleet 2 materialized to starboard of the alien formation. Terra Fleet 3 appeared above them. Terra Fleet 4 dropped out of. Admiral Boram's voice echoed across the vastness of space as she began the roll call that would be remembered throughout galactic history. Her transmission reached every ship in both the human and alien fleets, carried by communication systems that spanned light years. Terra Fleet 1, report status. Captain Wu Jin's calm voice responded immediately. Terra Fleet 1, operational. 50 ships ready for action. Terra Fleet 2, report status. Admiral Kyung-Soo commanded the Second Fleet from his flagship UES Relentless. Terra Fleet 2, operational, 75 ships ready for action. Terra Fleet 3, report status. Terra Fleet 3, operational, 60 ships ready for action. The response came from Admiral Sunyi, whose fleet had materialized above the alien formation like avenging angels. Emperor Sekthar watched in growing horror as the roll call continued. Each human fleet that reported contained dozens of warships, all appearing from hyperspace with perfect timing and coordination. His tactical display showed human vessels materializing in spherical formations around his armada. Terra Fleet 4. Report status. Terra Fleet 4 operational, 80 ships ready for action. How is this possible? Admiral Kethnox whispered from his position beside the Emperor. Our intelligence indicated they possessed perhaps 100 military vessels total. Terra Fleet 5. Report status. Terra Fleet 5, operational, 65 ships ready for action. The alien communications officers worked frantically to count the growing human force. Each new fleet added to what was becoming an overwhelming display of military might. The humans had not just matched the alien armada, they were surrounding it with superior numbers. Terra Fleet 6, report status. Terra Fleet 6, operational, 70 ships ready for action. Emperor Sekthar's ancient hands gripped his command, thrown as the magnitude of human deception became clear. The galaxy's greatest military powers had spent months preparing for this battle, gathering ships from across their empires to crush humanity once and for all. Instead, they found themselves facing a force that dwarfed their own. Terra Fleet 7, report status. Terra Fleet 7 operational, 85 ships ready for action. Panic began spreading through the alien fleet as commanders realized their predicament. The humans had positioned their forces in overlapping spheres of fire. Every alien ship was targeted by multiple human vessels. The formation that had seemed so powerful minutes ago now appeared trapped and vulnerable. Terra Fleet 8, report status. Terra Fleet 8 operational, 90 ships ready for action. Admiral Boram's voice remained perfectly calm as she continued the roll call. From her command center on Luna Base, she watched real-time tactical displays showing the deployment of humanity's greatest military achievement. Years of secret construction and hidden shipyards had produced this moment. Terra Fleet 9, report status. Terra Fleet 9, operational, 75 ships ready for action. The mathematical reality of the situation became undeniable. Human fleets continued arriving from hyperspace, while the alien armada remained fixed in place, unable to maneuver without exposing their vulnerable formations to concentrated fire. Terra Fleet 10, report status. Terra Fleet 10, operational, 80. Ships ready for action. Emperor Sekthar tried to comprehend how humanity had achieved such impossible industrial capacity. The ships surrounding his fleet were not hastily converted civilian vessels or ancient museum pieces. These were frontline warships incorporating the latest human military technology. Terra Fleet 11, report status. Admiral Min Ho's voice carried a note of satisfaction as he reported from the bridge of UES Unstoppable. Terra Fleet 11 operational, 95 ships ready for action. The alien fleet now found itself outnumbered by more than 3 to 1. Over 800 human warships formed concentric spheres around the 2,000 alien vessels. What had begun as an overwhelming show of force had become a carefully orchestrated trap. Admiral Boram's final transmission reached both fleets simultaneously. All Terra Fleet commanders, this is Fleet Admiral Boram speaking from Earth Command. You are witnessing the largest deployment of human military forces in our species' history. We did not seek this conflict, but we will not run from it. The silence that followed was broken only by the background hum of thousands of starship engines. Human and alien crews alike stared at tactical displays showing the true scope of the engagement. Nothing in galactic military history had prepared anyone for a battle of this magnitude. Tactical Officer Su Jin coordinated targeting solutions across all human fleets from her position aboard the Indomitable. The tactical computers she operated could track thousands of targets simultaneously, assigning optimal firing solutions to each human vessel. "All fleets report weapons locked and ready," she announced to Admiral Bo Ram. "We have clean targeting solutions on every alien vessel." Emperor Sekthar finally found his voice. "How?" he demanded over the open communication channels. "How did primitives like you build such a fleet?" Captain Wu Jin answered for humanity. "Your Imperial Majesty seems to have misunderstood something fundamental about our species. Humans excel at two things above all others: learning from our mistakes and building things that work." Chief Engineer Hyun Woo monitored the technical performance of the human fleet from his station. Every ship incorporated improvements based on the Battle of Kepler 442. Enhanced shields, improved weapons, better coordination systems. The entire fleet represented 6 months of intensive development. "Fleet-wide systems check complete," he reported. "All vessels showing optimal performance. We can maintain full combat operations indefinitely." The aliens began trying desperate maneuvers to escape their predicament. Some ships attempted to break formation and flee individually. Others tried to group together for combined defensive fire. A few activated experimental weapons systems that had never been tested in actual combat. None of it mattered. The human fleet moved with mechanical precision, adjusting formations to counter every alien tactic. When alien ships tried to flee, human vessels moved to intercept them. When aliens grouped for defense, humans concentrated overwhelming firepower against their formations. "Sir," Admiral Kethnok said quietly to Emperor Sekthar, "our tactical analysis indicates we cannot win. This engagement, the humans have achieved complete tactical superiority." "Are you suggesting we surrender to these children?" Sekthar snarled. "I am suggesting we consider our options carefully. If we continue this battle, we will lose the majority of our fleet. The political consequences of such a defeat could destabilize the entire empire." Emperor Sekthar stared at the tactical display, showing his trapped armada. Centuries of Vorthak military doctrine had not prepared him for this situation. His empire's greatest strength had always been overwhelming force applied against weaker opponents. Facing an enemy with superior numbers and better coordination was completely outside his experience. "Perhaps," Admiral Boram's voice interrupted his thoughts, "Your Imperial Majesty would like to discuss terms?" The offer hung in space like a lifeline thrown to a drowning sailor. Emperor Sekthar had two choices: fight a battle he could not win, or negotiate with humans he had severely underestimated. "What terms?" he asked through gritted teeth. "Immediate withdrawal of all alien forces from human space," Boram replied. "Recognition of human territorial claims, cessation of all hostile actions against human colonies and shipping. In return, we will allow your fleet to withdraw without further damage." "And if we refuse?" Captain Wu Jin answered that question. "Then we demonstrate why humanity has survived every challenge our universe has thrown at us. We adapt, we learn, and we build whatever tools we need to protect our people." The alien commanders looked at their tactical displays and saw the truth written in the positions of hundreds of human warships. They had come to exterminate a young species, and instead found themselves facing a military force that exceeded their wildest nightmares. Emperor Sekthar closed his eyes and made the most difficult decision of his long reign. "We accept your terms." The formal surrender of the largest military fleet in galactic history took place in the cold vacuum of space, witnessed by the crews of over 2,000 ships. For the first time in 1,000,000 years, the Vorthak Empire had been forced to admit defeat. But as the alien fleets began their withdrawal, encrypted messages flashed between human vessels. The roll call had stopped at Terra Fleet 11, but intelligence reports from Earth suggested that shipyard construction had not stopped at all. The galaxy was about to learn that sometimes the most important question was not how many fleets humanity had revealed, but how many they had chosen to keep hidden. The surrender of Emperor Sekthar should have ended the battle, but the galaxy's most powerful military force was not a single unified command. While the Vorthak Empire had accepted defeat, other alien species saw opportunity in the chaos. The Hive Confederation, ancient rivals of the Vorthak, decided to test human resolve for themselves. "The Vorthak have shown weakness," buzzed Supreme Queen Veltara from her position aboard the massive hive ship Dark Swarm. "The humans cannot have strength enough to defeat both empires. We will claim victory where our rivals have failed." 600 hive vessels suddenly broke away from the alien formation, their insectoid crews preparing for what they believed would be an easy victory over tired human forces. The Hive had watched the human tactics against Vorthak ships and developed what they thought were effective countermeasures. Admiral Boram observed the new threat from her command center with calm interest. "Hive forces are separating from the main alien fleet. They appear to be preparing for independent action." Captain Wu Jin received the tactical update aboard the Indomitable. "Confirmed. 600 hive ships moving to attack formation. They're ignoring the surrender order." "All Terra Fleet commanders." Boram's voice reached every human ship. "Hive forces have chosen to continue hostilities. Implement tactical plan Zeta 9. Show them why their rivals were wise to surrender." The human response was immediate and devastating. Unlike the previous battle where humans had demonstrated restraint, this engagement would showcase the full capability of Earth's military doctrine. The Hive Confederation was about to learn why their ancient enemies had chosen submission over destruction. Terra Fleet commanders coordinated their attacks with precision that had never been seen in galactic warfare. Fleet Admiral Sun Yi led the assault from her flagship UES Determination, her 70-ship formation moving in perfect synchronization with the other human forces. "All ships, implement firing pattern Delta 7, Sun Yi ordered. "Target priority is Hive command vessels. Secondary targets are fighter carriers." The space around the Hive formation erupted in controlled violence as human ships unleashed coordinated barrages of kinetic weapons. Railgun rounds crossed space at relativistic speeds, creating deadly geometric patterns that no alien formation could avoid. Tactical Officer Su Jin had expanded her coordination role to cover all human fleets simultaneously. Her tactical computers processed targeting data from over 800 ships, creating firing solutions that maximized damage while minimizing friendly fire risks. "Pattern Delta 7 achieving optimal results," she reported. "Hive formations are unable to adapt to our coordination protocols." The Hive Confederation had based their tactics on individual ship excellence and overwhelming numbers. Their vessels were designed to swarm enemy formations like metallic insects attacking prey, against human forces that moved as single coordinated entities. These tactics proved disastrously inadequate. Chief Engineer Hyun Woo monitored the technical performance of human weapon systems as the battle intensified. All fleets maintaining optimal fire rates. Ammunition expenditure is within projected parameters. We can sustain this level of engagement for hours. Supreme Queen Veltara watched her carefully planned assault dissolve into chaos as human ships systematically destroyed her forces. The insect's natural advantage in numbers meant nothing when facing enemies who could coordinate the fire of hundreds of vessels simultaneously. "How are they doing this?" she buzzed in frustrated confusion. "No species can coordinate so many ships with such precision." Her tactical coordinator's multiple eyes tracked the human formations on display screens. "My queen, they fight as if controlled by a single mind. Every ship knows exactly where every other ship will be at any moment." The battle continued for less than 20 minutes, but the outcome was never in doubt. Human ships moved through space in mathematical formations that created overlapping fields of fire. When Hive vessels tried to use their superior speed for hit-and-run attacks, they found themselves flying into carefully prepared kill zones. Admiral Kyung-soo commanded Terra Fleet 2 from his position aboard the UES Relentless. His ships specialized in close-range combat, and the Hive tactics played directly into his strengths. "All ships, implement Formation Gamma 3, he ordered. "Let's show them what happens when insects try to sting a hornet's nest." The human ships moved with fluid grace as they surrounded isolated groups of Hive vessels. Point defense systems that had been designed to stop missiles proved equally effective against small fighter craft. Plasma cannons designed for close combat turned Hive boarding ships into expanding clouds of superheated gas. Emperor Sekthar watched the destruction of his ancient rivals with mixed emotions. Part of him felt satisfaction at seeing Hive arrogance punished. Another part recognized that human military capability was even greater than he had feared. "Signal the remaining Hive forces," he ordered his communications officer. "Tell them they face the same choice we did: surrender or destruction." Supreme Queen Veltara received the Vorthak message as her fleet disintegrated around her. Of the 600 ships that had begun the attack, fewer than 200 remained functional. Those survivors were scattered and demoralized, their coordination completely broken by human tactics they could not understand or counter. "My queen," her aide buzzed urgently. "The humans are offering terms for surrender." Captain Wu Jin's voice reached the Hive flagship through communication channels crackling with weapons fire. "Supreme Queen Veltara, you have seen the fate of those who continue this conflict. Order your remaining ships to stand down, and they will be spared." The ancient Hive leader looked at her tactical displays, showing the systematic destruction of her forces. Every military doctrine in her species' history said that numerical superiority should guarantee victory. The humans had proven that doctrine completely wrong. "All Hive vessels," she buzzed in defeat, "cease fire and withdraw to minimum safe distance." The remaining alien fleet, now reduced to fewer than 1,500 ships, finally accepted the reality of human military superiority. The largest military force ever assembled in galactic history had been decisively defeated by a species that most aliens had considered primitive. But the battle's end only revealed the true scope of human preparation. As alien ships began their withdrawal, new hyperspace signatures appeared throughout the system. Admiral Boram was not finished demonstrating Earth's capabilities. "Terra Fleet 12, report status." The voice of Admiral Chin Hua responded from the bridge of his flagship, UES Inevitable. "Terra Fleet 12 operational, 100 ships ready for action." Emperor Sekthar felt his heart skip as he realized the humans were still revealing new forces. "How many fleets do they have?" he whispered. Terra Fleet 13. Report status. Terra Fleet 13. Operational, 95 ships ready for action. The roll call continued as more human fleets materialized around the retreating aliens. Each new arrival added to what was becoming the most overwhelming display of military might in recorded history. Terra Fleet 14. Report status. Terra Fleet 14. Operational, 80 ships ready for action. Admiral Boram's voice carried across space with mechanical precision. The fleets you see represent humanity's commitment to defending our people and our interests. We did not seek this conflict, but we prepared for it thoroughly. Terra Fleet 15. Report status. Terra Fleet 15. Operational, 110 ships ready for action. The mathematics were becoming impossible to ignore. Human forces now numbered over 1,200 warships, with more arriving every few minutes. The industrial capacity required to build such a fleet was beyond anything the galaxy had imagined possible. Chief Engineer Hyun-woo coordinated technical support across the expanding human fleet. All arriving fleets report full combat readiness. Logistics vessels are standing by to resupply any fleet requiring ammunition or fuel. The aliens finally understood the trap they had walked into. The humans had not just built a large fleet, they had created an entire military-industrial complex capable of supporting prolonged operations anywhere in galactic space. Terra Fleet 16. Report status. Terra Fleet 16 operational, 90 ships ready for action. Emperor Sekthar opened a direct communication channel to Admiral Boram. How? He asked simply. How did your species accomplish this? Boram's image appeared on his screen, showing the calm face of a professional military officer. Your Imperial Majesty, you made a fundamental error in understanding human nature. When threatened with extinction, humans do not surrender or negotiate. We build whatever tools we need to survive. The final fleets continued arriving as Boram spoke. Human shipyards had been working around the clock for months, producing vessels incorporating the most advanced technology Earth could develop. The fleet surrounding the alien armada represented the greatest industrial achievement in human history, Terra Fleet. 17 through 20 report status. 4 admirals responded simultaneously, their voices creating a chorus of human determination. Over 400 additional ships materialized as the final elements of Earth's response took their positions. The alien withdrawal began in earnest as commanders realized they faced. 3 months after the greatest military engagement in galactic history, Admiral Tae-min walked through the corridors of Nexus Prime with a confidence that had not existed during his previous visits. The massive space station looked the same, but everything else had changed. Alien species that had once dismissed human concerns now watched him with careful attention and barely concealed respect. The formal session of the Galactic Council convened with unprecedented attendance. Representatives from every major species and dozens of minor governments had come to witness humanity's first address as a full member of the galactic community. The observer chair where Tae-min had sat for years now belonged to a newly admitted species that had requested human protection from their more aggressive neighbors. Council leader Vextar called the session to order, but his voice lacked the commanding authority it had possessed months earlier. The old Vorthak's defeat at human hands had damaged his political position within his own empire. Several younger Vorthak leaders were already positioning themselves to challenge his leadership. The Galactic Council recognizes Admiral Tae-min, full representative of the United Earth government, Vextar announced. The words seemed to stick in his throat like bitter medicine. Taemin rose from his new seat in the primary assembly area. The chair was designed for human proportions, one of many small changes that had been made to accommodate Earth's new status. He carried a datapad containing humanity's formal proposals for galactic reform. "Honored representatives," Taemin began, his voice carrying easily through the vast chamber. "Earth comes before this council not as conquerors, but as advocates for a more just and peaceful galaxy." Murmurs spread through the assembled aliens. Many had expected demands for tribute or territorial concessions. Instead, humanity was proposing changes to the galactic order that would benefit smaller species at the expense of the traditional powers. First, Taemin continued, Earth proposes the establishment of the Galactic Defense Initiative. Any species threatened by aggressive neighbors may request protection from a joint fleet composed of volunteers from multiple governments. The proposal was revolutionary. For millennia, smaller species had been forced to choose between absorption by larger empires or costly independence. Humanity was offering a third option: collective security backed by the galaxy's most powerful military. Force Representative Flicta of the Aquarian Republic leaned forward in her seat. Her people had lived under Vorthak threats for centuries, never quite conquered, but never truly free. What would Earth ask in return for such protection? Nothing beyond what any civilized species should expect, Taemin replied. Peaceful relations, fair trade, and respect for sapient rights. We seek partners, not subjects. Emperor Sekthar listened to the human proposals with growing unease. The Galactic Defense Initiative would fundamentally alter the balance of power that had existed for eons. Species that had been forced to submit to larger empires would suddenly have alternatives. The Vorthak Empire objects to these proposals, Sekthar declared. Galactic stability depends on clear hierarchies and established territorial boundaries. These human ideas would create chaos. Taemin smiled politely. Your Imperial Majesty raises valid concerns about stability. Perhaps we should examine what true stability means in a galactic context. The human representative activated his datapad, and holographic displays appeared throughout the chamber. The images showed detailed analyses of galactic conflicts over the past 1,000 years. The statistics were damning for the traditional powers. In the past millennium, Taemin noted, Vorthak expansion has resulted in 47 wars of conquest, displacement of over 2 billion sapient beings, and the complete destruction of 6 spacefaring civilizations. The numbers hung in the air like accusations. Several smaller species began murmuring among themselves as they recognized the conflicts that had shaped their own histories. The Hive Confederation's record shows similar patterns, Taemin continued. 31 wars of conquest, absorption of 18 independent governments, and forced relocation of entire species to serve Hive industrial needs. Supreme Queen Veltara buzzed angrily. The Hive brings order to chaos. Our methods may seem harsh, but they create stability across hundreds of worlds. With respect, Your Majesty, Taemin replied, stability based on fear is not true stability. It is temporary suppression that eventually leads to greater conflicts. On Earth, President Ji-woo watched the council session through secure communication links. The Global Defense Council had spent weeks preparing Taemin for this moment. Every proposal, every statistic, every argument had been carefully researched and documented. How are they responding? Asked Defense Minister Dong-hyun. Better than expected, Ji-woo replied. The smaller species are clearly interested in our protection offers. The major powers are trying to maintain their positions, but they're on the defensive. Admiral Boram joined the conversation from Luna Command. Intelligence reports indicate several client species have already sent informal inquiries about defensive agreements. The Vorthak are losing their grip on their empire. Back on Nexus Prime, Taimin continued presenting humanity's vision for galactic reform. Each proposal was designed to create alternatives to the imperial systems that had dominated space for millennia. Second, Taimin announced, Earth proposes the establishment of neutral trade zones administered by the Galactic Council rather than individual empires. These zones would ensure fair commerce between species without the threat of economic domination. The proposal struck at the heart of imperial power structures. Both the Vorthak Empire and Hive Confederation controlled vast trade networks that generated enormous wealth for their ruling classes. Independent trade zones would allow smaller species to compete on equal terms. Third, Earth proposes the creation of an independent arbitration system for territorial disputes. Rather than resolving conflicts through military force, species would present their cases to neutral judges selected from non-aligned governments. The chamber erupted in discussion as representatives realized the implications. Wars that had raged for decades could be resolved through legal proceedings rather than military campaigns. The concept was so foreign to galactic tradition that many aliens struggled to understand how it could work. Representative Kraz of the Mollusk Federation raised a tentacled appendage. Admiral Taimin, these proposals sound admirable in theory, but what enforcement mechanism would ensure compliance? How would the Council prevent larger powers from simply ignoring decisions they dislike? Taimin's smile became slightly less diplomatic. An excellent question, Representative Kraz. Earth is prepared to contribute significant military resources to enforce Council decisions. We believe our recent demonstration of capabilities should provide adequate deterrent against non-compliance. The threat was delivered with perfect politeness, but everyone in the chamber understood its meaning. Humanity possessed the largest and most advanced military force in galactic history. Species that ignored Council decisions would face the same overwhelming response that had crushed the combined Vorthak Hive Armada. Supreme Queen Veltara's multiple eyes fixed on the human representative. You speak of justice and fairness, but your proposals would destroy the order that has maintained galactic peace for centuries. With respect, Your Majesty, Taimin replied, the peace you describe has been maintained through fear and oppression. True peace can only exist when all species feel secure in their independence and dignity. Emperor Sekthar realized that humanity was not just proposing reforms, they were completely restructuring galactic civilization. The old order that had elevated the Vorthak Empire to supreme power was being systematically dismantled by creatures he had dismissed as primitives just months earlier. The Vorthak Empire will never accept these changes, Sekthar declared. We have ruled space for 1,000,000 years. We will not surrender our rightful position to upstart children. The chamber fell silent as everyone waited for Taimin's response. This was the moment that would determine whether the new galactic order would be established through negotiation or force. Your Imperial Majesty, Taimin said quietly, Earth hopes that all civilized species will choose to participate in building a better galaxy. However, participation is voluntary. Those who prefer the old ways are free to maintain their current territories and systems. The offer seemed generous until its implications became clear. Species that rejected the new order would find themselves isolated as their former subjects and client states joined the Galactic Defense Initiative. The empires could maintain their core territories, but their spheres of influence would evaporate. Over the following hours, smaller species began announcing their support for human proposals. The Aquarian Republic was the first to formally request membership in the Galactic Defense Initiative. Within minutes, a dozen other governments followed suit. Representative Flicta stood to address the chamber. The Aquarian Republic has lived under the threat of conquest for 3 centuries. Today, for the first time, we see hope for true independence. We pledge our support to these reforms and our friendship to humanity.